we got the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think I'm all set. I did this all myself. I just wanted to be sure before I went in that the microphone and cameras were setting. And thanks for getting the table for me too, Al. I sent Jason upstairs. We're all set. So we got. Yeah, I got it. Okay, I got to set up the microphone. Thanks. Bye-bye. All right, so you're going live on the internet.
Oh, okay.
You know? So there's 8.3 billion people who can hear
Potentially,
you.
yeah.
You all right?
I'll put my security number up there. So I do have a video in this.
This is where the sound's going to come out the speakers, and it's going to go into the computer right there.
Yep. Make sure HDMI, I'm going to have some audio playing from the computer. Is that going to come out from the projector? I did see a projector left and right.
Yeah, I've got it here, so if we do the projector, I think it will. Yeah, if you want to test it, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll find out.
And their dedication.
Watch how close it is to the end there.
Could you do me a favor? Just get the. Could you pick up the corner of the table and put them behind that, like? You're live on camera now. so that's why. Just put it around. Don't pull it too. Yeah, put it under, but don't pull the camera down over. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Made a big difference because all I was getting in the back of people's heads.
Oh,
Thank you.
well,
Did you want to introduce Zach? Should I introduce?
There's a microphone up there. You can introduce him. I've got to run the.
Should we start on time?
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to have you here. So happy to have you here. It's been a wonderful morning here at our church. And continuing, happy birthday to Lee Boyd once again. Happy birthday, Lee. But in this moment, we're moving to something else that's really, really important. Zach James, wonderful church member, IT specialist, recently was, and so many times through the years, has helped us out, has helped out me personally with some tech issue. And Zach volunteered on his own to help us be safe from online scams, viruses, etc. We are so happy that you are here. Thank you, Zach.
No, he's got to get.
All right. This better now? Yes. Okay. So, as Pastor John said, my name is Zach James. I'm coming from, say, close to 30 years of IT. Started off in middle school, working on the IT tech team, where I would go around and fix teachers' computers.
thank you.
So eventually, did Geek Squad in college, and then got off on a career in IT where I was doing enterprise phone systems and networking. And throughout that time, I have spent a lot of time training, and I just wanted to put it out there. I understand I am a very different person than most people on the internet. That's okay. We will come to where you are, because that's what the internet is going to do. It will find you, no matter where you go. Especially since we're all carrying that around in our pocket all of the time. So understand that what we are looking for today is just simple ways to keep on top of your mind about how to deal with the internet and how to be safe online. This can also be interactive, so if there are questions or you want me to explain something a different way, stop me at any point. But we have 3 main topics today. So we're going to look for common scams and how to identify them, learn simple ways to protect yourself, and then really what to do if something feels suspicious. And even if it turns out to be not suspicious or not a bad thing, always feel like you should be suspecting something. It's don't trust, verify. The scams and fraud on the internet is a business. This is not somebody in a hoodie in their room trying to just get in something like we used to see on the hacker movies in the 90s. This is a business. People run this 24/7 as if it's a call center, as if it is a military operation sometimes. So when you're talking to someone, understand that they're probably not sitting in a room. They're probably sitting in a large office space in a cubicle like it's their day job. So when they go through this, they have a very clear script on how to do stuff. When I say this is a business, in 2024, it was almost $17 billion. Wow. Right? That's more money than we can really rationalize in most people's heads. When this is also one of those pieces where you realize someone's a billionaire, take understanding that this is significant. This is what will run operations and sometimes countries. So I would like to point out, while a lot of us that are older might feel like we are targeted, it is everybody. So in 2024, nearly 30% of all the losses came from adults over 60 years old. So still a significant point of that population, but there are aspects of that are different based on where folks are coming from. To be able to visualize just how different that much money is, you got $100, you got $1,000, you've got $1 million. $1 billion is has everybody seen a pallet you got shipping stuff on? Stacked, 4 feet tall, with $100 bills. 16 billion would overflow a shipping container of $100 bills.
Wow.
All right? So this isn't like, oh, there's an accident. This is very purposeful. They have a plan. They're going to go for it. So if you need to have some base instincts, this is what we're going to look for today. So they're looking for people that are busy, worried about what's going on, wanting to help other people. So obviously, we're probably in this organization here, we care about people. So when someone comes to us in a pinch and they can feel that we can help them, and that's important for us as individuals, that is a point of attack. Everybody is looking to see how they can get in. Most common scams are them reaching out to you proactively. This is not, oh, I did something and now they're reaching out. This is, I get a call from the IRS unprompted. I get a text saying, hey, let's chat again. Any of these things where you haven't started an engagement, that is a warning. Even if it is something important, your bank calls you and tells you there's fraud. Say, thank you, hang up, call the bank. Never trust anybody that's reaching out to you, even if it's your kid. If they are asking for something, if they are in a bad place, call them back. There are ways that I can make myself look, sound, and behave just like anybody that you might know, even on a video call. So there is a real concern about being able to say, oh no, I know what my son sounds like. I know what my daughter would look like. This is nothing about what you have for expectations or changing who you are. We want to make sure that we're just trying to act and understand what can happen and how to go about it. So this is a short call video, so we'll play this.
When a digital copy of someone's voice is used, is one of the latest artificial intelligence tools scammers use to steal money and personal information. Here is how you can avoid being scammed by AI voice cloning. Stay calm if you get a frantic sounding phone call from someone claiming to be a family member or friend in trouble. Pause and take a breath and consider if it's plausible it may be them. Hang up the phone and call or text the person to make sure they are okay. Choose a safe word or phrase your family can use in a real emergency. If someone claiming to be a family member calls in a panic and doesn't know the word, it's most likely a scam. If you don't have a safe word, ask them a question that they would only know the answer to. Don't always trust caller ID because technology has made it easier for scammers to spoof any number. For more scam tips, go to aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. And make sure to tune into RFD TV the third Thursday of each month for rule.
All right. So that is just some good basics. This is something that is highly popular right now, where people are calling and engaging with you, saying, hey, I just need $200. It's an entry level. It's a start to that relationship they're trying to build and trust that they're trying to gain. When I was talking about making myself be able to look and sound like somebody, this will hopefully give us a little better idea of we can't really trust
Potential dangers
everything.
of believable AI video. I'm fake, and so is everything and everyone in this video. Enjoy.
This may look real, but none of it happened. It's AI generated and dangerously convincing.
Much like when I tell people about sun-dried grapes, this video is all about raisin awareness.
Now, these creatures do not have to worry about AI video because, of course, they are fake. I'm also fake.
Get ready for a flood of fake videos trying to make you believe certain things or feel a certain way. This technology makes it easy. Get it? Flood?
Is it true this is all fake and people really shouldn't believe everything they see?
Well, yeah, I'm as fake as it gets.
Final score means nothing if the footage is fake. AI can make it look like we won, lost, or weren't even there.
Here we have a completely made-up item. I might say it holds some importance, but it's fake junk. Just like me.
Welcome back to the program. We're looking at some amazing growth around AI, and one stock everyone should be buying is, just kidding, we're all fake.
Look, bad actors are going to use this technology to fool people. I mean, just look how real all of this looks.
It's fake though.
Look, videos that could be used in court need to go through a new level of scrutiny. For example, I'm just playing video games here. I am fake after all.
Look, just because you see it on video doesn't mean it happened. Question everything going forward. Just because you're seeing it does not mean it is real or is happening. For example, all of this here is fake.
Now, before we get started, I just wanted to...
I think that's made the point. Yeah. All right. So give me some ideas about what you feel about that video.
Scared. It's horrifying. Yeah.
Right.
Trust nothing.
You can't.
What was that?
Trust nothing.
Trust nothing. Great way to go. Until that person is in front of you and you know them and you verify that they're real, assume that there could be something else going on. It's one of those weird parts we never want to say, don't trust anybody. The scenario is, if somebody's coming to you for something or trying to do something for you, but they need something in return, definitely have that feeling of, let's take this offline, I'll call you back. On the back of all of your credit cards and debit cards, there is one of the most important numbers for fraud. If someone calls you from the bank, you hang up, you find that card, you call the number on the back. Same thing, if somebody reaches out to you via email or mail, you don't call the number that's on that document, what they've provided. You don't click the link that's in their email to get you to the site. As much as we can say, hey, that video just showed somebody that looked real, we can have an email that goes to you, and you click a link, and it goes, and it looks exactly like your bank. All the way through the login process, everything's gonna look right, all the statements are there, but it's not. You've clicked the wrong link, and unless you're really good and you look at that, we call the URL, that site code, you might not even notice. So, top warning signs, like I said before, unexpected contact. Any kind of pressure, urgency, because not only do they want to build trust, but they need you to act. They're asking you to give up information. They're asking you to give up money. They're asking you to give up access to something. If they're asking for those things, is that what my kid would normally do? Is that what my friend would do? If, I don't even, might not even know this. You're just going to help a stranger. Why would a stranger call you for that? All right, especially if there's any requests for passwords or any kind of don't tell somebody else that we're having this conversation. If it's a bank, if it's anybody you trust, it shouldn't be a bad conversation. If it is a private matter, great, let's talk in person. All right, things that you want to practice as you go through any kind of incident. Slow down, understand what's happening, and this is good for any scenario, right? If you're walking up to an accident, you don't just rush in and start to figure something out. You take a look, see what's going on, and understand what's the best way I can approach this. Same with anybody coming to you for something. You never act on a phone call or a message or really start engaging that. While you can verify the number, again, with the idea that we can pretty much hide anything behind something, we can actually make it look like that person is calling you. Your son's phone number comes up, and because you have that saved in your phone, it might even pop up, we call the avatar, the little picture of that person, right? That doesn't guarantee that that's them. We have the idea that your phone number is yours and it can't be changed, like your mailing address. Somebody can't just go down and put a mailbox in front of your house. That's exactly what they're doing. All right, so just understand you have to go slow with these pieces. One of the habits that is probably the hardest for all of us to do is passwords. It always has been. And actually, the gentleman that started the strong password movement, where you want capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, all these things, and they're just gobbledygook, has come back and said that was the worst mistake he could have made. While it's good to have a strong password that's really hard to figure out for somebody else, how easy is it for you to remember?
I never, ever remember. That's why you get a little black book. When you write it down in a little black book.
The little black book is great. It's offline. People can't get into it from other countries until they come into your house, which hopefully that doesn't happen. But here's where the password piece is coming. They are recommending how to get through this because we don't want you to use the same password everywhere. So if you're good at remembering one password, there's two major issues with that. It's the password you're going to try to use most places, and you're not going to change it regularly and remember that changed password.
If you have a cheat sheet, you can.
If you have a cheat sheet, you can.
I have a question.
Yes.
What about like when you can do face recognition? Is that not a good thing?
So,
like, you can link your,
yeah, so we'll get into that in just a minute.
Sorry.
But that's absolutely a great idea. That is a physical aspect of identity. And we'll get into that in just a minute. I want to have, just from a password standpoint, to understand, like visualization. If you have a key to your house, right, that's your password. But if you reuse that password at your bank, pretend that that has a key and lock. It's a whole different lock. It's not the same as your house, but you're trying to use the same key. And you have a new set of keys. And you do that to the grocery store and everywhere else. If you end up having 50 sets of keys that are exactly the same, and one gets lost, what do they have access to? That's how you should think of your password. All right? It's one of those pieces that we've been saying, change your password frequently, don't use the same passwords, but that strong password made it really hard to do this. And now that everything has a password, it's even harder, because now you have to have that little black book and that cheat sheet that has maybe 1,000 entries. And something you haven't used for 2 years is still having a password that you have to go back and find. You also want to, besides passwords, make sure that you have other strong aspects. So your computer, your phone gets updates. Making sure you do those properly and at a decent time. If you're one of those folks that doesn't do it a lot, and you wait until it makes you do it, understand that that means that there are potential vulnerabilities in your phone, in your computer, that have a way for people to attack it without anything that you do. There's a vulnerability in some code that somebody wrote and they found it. That update is not just to bring new features, it's also to patch security things. If anybody has been hearing on the news about all the AI and the security aspects, something called Mythos is a new AI system that is really good at analyzing computer systems and finding those flaws. So good, in fact, the company said, we're not going to release it. It's a danger. They got with a few of those major manufacturers and are trying to give them a head start to start cleaning stuff up. So in the next 6 months, you're going to see a lot of security updates. Please stay on top of those. They're really critical.
Can frauders not send something that looks like a legit?
So this is one of it. Absolutely. So if you get a pop-up and it says click here to update, it's not the same way you're going through and doing the normal update. It absolutely could be false. Just like one of the most popular security scams is a pop-up window that says your computer's been infected. And it might even look like antivirus software.
I've been to the church's computer.
It happens so often. In doing tech support, that is one of the most popular things that I've come across for standard users is, hey, I got this thing that's saying my computer's infested. Or it went to a child pornography site and I'm gonna be turned in. They're creating that sense of urgency. They're saying there's something wrong. They're saying, here's a quick action to do it. Same idea. Close it and then move on to the next.
The same thing happened, but you can't do anything. You can't type, you can't use the mouse. So what we did is unplug the computer and unplug the wireless, unplug the computer, and undid kill the cookies.
Okay.
So stop the wireless immediately so that it couldn't spread, and then deleted all the cookies so that it couldn't get to all the memory.
So I'm gonna repeat that back just so everybody can hear and make the recording. The incident was she got this notice that there was something going on. She couldn't move the mouse or type the keyboard. She was effectively locked out of the computer. She said she went, unplugged it, turned off the power, unplugged the Wi-Fi, essentially severing it from the internet. Absolutely right. You did the perfect thing. That's actually one of the first things I tell people.
Deleted all the cookies.
So there's a whole process to go through and clean those pieces up, and then you can have other software that goes in and checks it.
Zach, could I just ask you to have a microphone passed around? When somebody has a question, they could raise their hand. Otherwise, we cannot get this on the video.
All right. So we'll go through kind of remediation for if you do find yourself in that situation. For what I want to talk about today is more prep to help prevent those kind of pieces. All right? We can definitely talk after this if you want, and I can give you some ideas, but it sounds like you did the exact right thing of
My husband did it.
shutting it off. You in the general term. All right? So you will also want to be careful. All of that AI stuff, understand that you're probably part of this attack. So if they're identifying you, if you're their target customer, right, this is a business, they're gonna do research on you. What information of yours online can you think of that might be used to attack you? I heard Google, I heard Facebook.
I mean, you can Google anybody and get who their parent is, their child, their.
Exactly.
It gives you where you've lived, so there's a lot of information, it's easy access.
That information is readily available. I want you to take a step further. We're gonna do like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Think 6 degrees of you. If you have friends, if you have family, and they're also online, and they send you a happy birthday video and post that online, great. Not only now does that person know that you have a potential family member and point of attack, but they also know your birthday.
Are you talking about even through emails, stuff? Like through email and stuff, or?
So Facebook, Google, any of those pieces. From email, also understand that most email companies, Google being the biggest one, harvest your data. Anything that you send, attachments, text, in that, you have given them permission to mine. So they actually go in constantly. That's also why if you've ever gotten an email from your friend and they're talking about the gardening they just did, you're gonna start seeing gardening ads.
Yeah. And we're talking about something.
Yeah, we talk about it.
All right.
Restaurants you visit.
Restaurants you visit. And this is a great piece. You don't even have to post about it.
Yeah.
You've turned on the GPS on your phone,
Yeah.
and it knows that you're there. It also might know that your friend was there, and it's gonna give you an advertisement to go there because they might know that you're pretty close to this person through all these other data points, and you might be having these conversations. So it doesn't even have to be something that you've done. This is not just you. This is your entire network. All right? So you can't stop all of this stuff. What you can do is how you react to things. As much as I want to tell you, you can go out there and clean all that information and block it because it's yours. Unfortunately, in the United States, we have a term called opt-out. You see that on all the websites you go to? They have cookies and all this other stuff. It's not just those cookies. The expectation is if you don't want your information used, you have to tell them you don't want them to take it or don't share it. And if you don't want to do that, and sometimes they just say you can't use our service, and you kind of make that, well, I'd rather use the service. In other places, like the EU, they have an opt-in, which means you have to give actual permission for them to collect data on you. And if they do collect that data, you're allowed to go and talk to them or email or send a note and say, I want a copy of all the information you have of mine. And I also want you to delete it. They have to by law. We do not do that here in the US. We are in a much tougher spot for all of us in this room. So again, we can't control a lot of that stuff. As much as I want to tell you, write to your senators, write to your congressmen, get that law changed. We gotta deal with what is happening today. How do we react to these pieces?
Thanks for coming, Jim.
This,
Stuck on my cell phone right now.
it's really scary, and I hate being that person that's a Debbie Downer and just raining on everybody's parade. It's a great day, it's sunny, we had some cake, and now, yeah, I feel like I'm kicking somebody's puppy. Understand that's not the intent. I want you to feel empowered, because all of those feelings that I'm putting out there, you have that anxiety. That's going to be tenfold when you get into an incident and feel that. And that's real, and you have to deal with it right then. So how you start prepping and understanding and practicing is going to be how you're able to handle those situations. So think through those pieces. If I got a phone call, what would I do? and you've got to make sure you're keeping track of that mentality. Here are a couple of aspects that I want you to also understand that are available for you. So we talked about password and hygiene, which is, do you change it regularly? Do you have a safe password? Is it a strong password? The email account, when you're signing up for services online, is also the biggest vulnerability. Like we talked about, it's going to be able to collect data. It's also where all the other services are going to send you notices and links to reset your password. So if I went to a site pretending to be you and I clicked reset, it's going to go and send an email link. But if I can get into your email, even without knowing all those other passwords, I can have them sent to your email, access your email, and now I go in and I change your passwords. So your email is one of the most critical aspects on your online security. So make sure that's a good password. Make sure you're practicing. Do I have way too much stuff coming into this? Do I need to get a different email address? All of those pieces are part of it. We always see our information getting shared online. You know, there was a data breach. Email is one of the most critical pieces in that. It's almost always there. So it doesn't have to be like your home address. You're allowed to change that, right, without having moved. You can get a different email address. You can get a separate email that's just for security things, like your bank and other pieces, and then all of the standard stuff that you've been dealing with for years can keep going to where everybody else knows your email address. There's a bunch of different strategies for that. Yes?
I think.
You want to get the mic? Nope. Can you turn that off for her? Or?
Turn it on.
I have two different banks that we do business with, Bank Hometown and Webster File. Both of those, I have the two-factor authentication. So when I log in, I put in my username and my password, and then an email pops up on my phone, and I have to put that 6-digit code in there.
Yep.
To me, that seems like a safer way to do that kind of banking.
I think you can see my slides.
Yeah.
That's coming up in this very next one. So I'll go over that multi-factor. No, don't be sorry. If you want to just leave your name and social security number, since you've already told us what banks you use, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll do that. No kidding. Anything else you need?
Because we're streaming this online. Just, again, be
Give
aware.
my date of birth, you're gonna say I'm too old.
Be a day over 30.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, the point of how else can we secure it besides password? Multi-factor is one of our best options. And there's a couple different flavors of that. Hopefully this isn't too busy of a slide, but if nobody is familiar with MFA, multi-factor authentication, this is the idea that we want you to prove it's you more than just your username and password. All right? Because if that gets lost, great. There are a couple of different ways to have something more secure than just your password. But we don't want you to lose that yet. There are some folks going passwordless, where you go to log in and they just send you the email and you're never actually putting a password in. But again, that makes sure you need to make sure your email has multi-factor authentication. All right. So there are 3 types of multi-factor, break down into something you know, something you have, and something you are. Coming back to our face, our fingerprints. All right? While those are great, understanding how to use them properly is more important. So, a typical path for multi-factor, hopefully I'm going this right side. So, you go in, you log in, whether that is username and password or a user and another email. They're going to send you a code. They're going to send you a code to a device that you have, your cell phone number. If you have an app that's running security on your phone, they're going to send that code to the app if you've set it up. It's just another way of saying, hey, we know that you said it's the right username and password. Do you have this other thing that might not be readily available to an attacker? You're going to enter that other form of ID, whether that's a code, whether that's your face, whether that is a fingerprint, whether that is a call back, and they give you a code over the phone. Those are all multi-factor authentication pieces. Because what the example has done is, if they've sent you a text message, they've sent it to you through the telephone network. So while it's not fully secure, it's going to get routed to your cell phone. It's very unlikely that they're going to have your cell phone in another place. All right, so this is just another way of making it better. It does not prove that this is going to stop everything. It just makes it less likely. And this is kind of like outrunning a bear. You don't need to outrun the bear, you just need to outrun the people next to you. Okay?
With AI, though, couldn't, like, a number of teachers, their fingerprints are on file.
Mm-hmm.
Like, couldn't eventually AI get hold of those fingerprints somehow, and, I don't know, with a 3D printer or however, recreate our fingerprints to use them? I mean, is
Absolutely.
It's just hard. It's just hard.
But here's the thing. When I'm saying that you just need to outrun the bear, you need to outrun the people next to you, they're going to go for low-hanging fruit. They're going to go for the easiest thing. If you've ever worked with salespeople before, they're going to do the easiest thing possible. And it works, though, doesn't it?
Low-hanging fruit.
There is a reason it is so popular in that cliche, because it works. So folks that are able to target somebody, if they go in, they use that password, and they realize that it's a multi-factor enabled, they're going to skip and go to the next easiest one. So if we eventually get to a part where fingerprint replication is the easiest piece, we'll deal with it when we get there at this point. We can only do so much. So we prepare, we do this, we move on. The fingerprint and face, that's us. There are ways that those systems that can use that do have a form of protection, right? With your iPhone or Android, it's not just your fingerprint. They're actually looking subdermal for your blood vessels. All right, there's a lot of those pieces. So it's no longer just fingerprint like we used to see Robert Redford make a copy of it using duct tape and super glue, right? The Face ID, the cameras that Microsoft will let you use Face ID have to be very specific. That camera plus an infrared camera or imager to not only see your face, but prove that there are hot spots, cold spots, everything lining up. All right, so there are those methods. It's a little better, but it is not like if I came up here and held your a photo of your face in front of it, it should stop that. So the comment was, it would be quicker to drive to Boston and pay the bill? Absolutely. Think of your day though. How many of those incidents do you have to do? So we're not trying to say change your life. What I want you to take out of this is just start doing little things, right? You don't have to recycle everything and become that person. Just start a little bit more recycling. Start trying to make your life better and the others around you. All right, strong passwords. So, you have a question?
Well, I wanted to make 3 comments because we're not going to be able to say the whole thing, but I'll wait until you have a good breaking point.
So the first point is low tech, and it is that I recently got a scam from a legitimate email address. They'd broken into her email, and so, you know,
I mailed back to this legitimate address, and they responded, not like my friend, but they responded and said, no, it's okay, you know, go ahead, click on this, you know. So that's the low-tech thing I wanted to say. I wanted to say two higher tech things because I was in the computer business. One, in the early 70s, I was at a famous research institute, which I won't name, and they were working on secure operating systems. And to make a long story short, I can almost guarantee you that no operating system you're using right now is secure. It's very difficult to make them secure. It takes a lot of work. This was for military stuff, and it just costs too much. So the stuff that you're getting from Apple, from Microsoft, is not secure. Most people, it can be broken. It's just that people don't know how to break it. So I want to support your message about updating when they give you updates, because when they find things out, you want to grab hold of it. To punch that just a little bit farther, my specialty was hardware, and I was involved with the design of microprocessors, and before that, the design of processors. And I hate to tell you this, but those aren't secure either. They have flaws, and the reason is it's almost impossible to make sure that there's no flaw in a hardware design. We try very hard, but sometimes it happens that a company will find it out, and I won't mention any names, but I know several, will find a bug after something has shipped. And particularly these days when you're talking about microprocessors and the cost of spinning a microprocessor chip, it just costs too much. I know of cases where they said, as long as nobody figures this out, we're okay. We can't afford to, you know, respin it and you know, send out new chips to people. So again, all I'm trying to do is support your message of go for updates.
Again, we're trying to do as much as we can. Understand that something's going to happen. Just like that. Absolutely. And the message that I'll actually, you know, you double down, I'll triple down. The idea that when people find those vulnerabilities, they're going to be able to potentially attack them faster than a manufacturer. A good manufacturer wants to be able to change them. We have changed that from how long something is out in the wild as a vulnerability, used to be months, potentially years, and then it went to months, and then weeks, and then days, and now hours. And now we're adding in AI. That can do it super fast. So, understand, we are trying to do the best we can, and that's all we really can handle. You can't change the world, but you can change what you do about it. To get back on track for a little bit, the passwords that I was talking about before, right? These passwords down towards the bottom is more the idea of what folks that are still using passwords would like us to use. Phrases, right? So it's a random assortment of words and letters, throwing in numbers or special characters, because sometimes sites will require that. And that way, you're more likely to remember a phrase. Also, if anybody has cognitive disabilities, understand this is going to be very hard for them, and it may be a point at which, because things are changing so fast, you need to change how we're addressing those. Almost like taking the keys away from your father when he's unable to drive safely consistently. So we have to start thinking about how we live our daily lives and within our network. The other way for us to really handle passwords, as I talked about, using the same password multiple places. Birthdays and names, favorite animals, things that you're posting online. If you constantly put Walt Whitman quotes on Facebook. Don't use a Walt Whitman as your password. I feel like I shouldn't have to say it, but if you're constantly saying something, you're putting it out there, don't have that be your password. Find something that's personally meaningful that you can update as you go, right? Sharing passwords. Might not think of it as, I'm not gonna share my email password with somebody, or if I share my Netflix password with somebody. All of those other pieces. Understand that you're potentially giving them a key to the house. Whether or not it's going to cause trouble, might not know. Security alerts. I talked about pop-ups being a security alert. Fake pop-ups, right? If something pops up on your screen and it says this is a security alert, a lot of times people will say, well, it's McAfee, or it's Norton antivirus. It looks and it seems really legit. Did you have McAfee or Norton antivirus on your computer? The amount of times the answer is no. Okay, why did you assume that Norton pop-up? These pieces, stop, slow down, assess what's going on. Then you do the same thing I was telling you before about checking the number on your card. Going to the bank, on your computer, going to the Windows security application and running a scan. Going to the antivirus that you know you've installed and running that. If there is a concern, unplug it, bring it to somebody that can help. All right? This is the same as, hey, my car just got infected by a virus. Should I still drive it down the road? No, you're gonna get that to a mechanic. Think of it the same way. So, if you start seeing messages about a password that you did not request to get reset, you're targeted. Whether that was a widespread thing of just, hey, we went down this list of emails and things that we bought offline, or if it's, hey, I'm gonna actually try to attack this person and I'm gonna start using my things. Password resets are a good way to find out. If folks have access to your email, every once in a while you should probably check your deleted items. Because they might go into it, use that password reset, and then delete it. So understanding that idea of what's important and how to keep track of it. So we said, use good passwords, all that piece. It's really hard to keep track of all of those pieces outside of a document. There are softwares out there called password managers. Again, nothing is safe in the world completely, as was pointed out, right? But we're just trying to add a layer. A password manager is something that you can run on your phone and on your computer, and it will save passwords and usernames. It can even potentially do multi-factor authentication help. Sometimes those get corrupted or there's a security risk. Understand, you have the ability to take all of those passwords and then go through the process of resetting everything. There is not a one button push. This is not a Staples. As much as you want to make it, if somebody comes to you and says, I'll give you that one button push, you just have to give me all your information. That's effectively what you should be really worried about.
When I get, when I'm online looking, like, on shopping or something, and it says, and I sign into my account, and it says, save this password for this
Site. Google will come up, save this password for this site, and I always click never.
Okay, that's actually a great aspect.
Yeah.
And from an IT perspective, dealing with companies, one of the things we say is, don't let your browser save your passwords.
Okay.
All right? That is acting as a password manager, but that information is vulnerable not only on your computer if you get attacked, and it's readily there, but also on that cloud service. That's not their priority, right? So if that information gets lost, that's, sorry, here's a letter about we're gonna give you a year of identity protection and credit score monitoring. That doesn't help us for 10, 15 years down the road. The password manager should be a third party, a separate application that's being run. Having your computer your iPhone, all these other pieces try to do that. Everybody will offer it. I'll have a couple of links here that I'll be able to send out for some recommendations. We're going to jump back to the beginning. Oh, 1 second.
I just wanted to ask a question because I'm uncomfortable with something that we've been asked to do here in the church when signing into the computer. Kenny LaFeria thinks that we should take our fingerprint and give our fingerprint to the computer
Okay.
and press our fingerprint on the computer as opposed to signing in. I'm worried I'm going to get accused of the Kennedy assassination or something like that because my computer now knows my fingerprint is everywhere. And couldn't that be used to actually target somebody down the road, or am I just paranoid?
I'll never say there's no chance, but the likelihood is low. What is actually being stored when you're doing a facial scan, a fingerprint scan, is data points. They are not taking a photo of your fingerprint and getting all of that information. Your blood vessels change. The way, they're not getting all of the different data points. They're getting some data points. So it's on the back end, part of that multi-factor piece. So I would say fingerprints are actually a really pretty secure way to go, as long as the source of what you're interacting with. Do you trust that laptop? Apple, they push that pretty hard. That's a big part of their business. They're going to try to make that as secure as possible.
So it's not so I'm not really sharing my fingerprint with the rest of the world, or they couldn't actually get that.
Even if their database was stolen, they're going to get random data points and not understand what exactly to do with it. It would have to be a very, very involved breach to have all the information needed to be able to replicate or reuse your fingerprints.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. So, real quick, we're gonna repeat. If you think you were scammed, stop, disconnect, power off. Call your credit card company. Call your bank. Call your security, however you want to think of it. Change passwords. Report it. Then that 16 billion is only what's been reported. Don't feel ashamed. This is not something that you did wrong. This is not something that you should have known better. All right? This is nothing that your parents dealt with. This is way different. Ask for help. There's a saying in a lot of different pieces, but in sales, don't lose the deal alone. Don't fail alone. In IT and engineering, don't mess up alone. 2 heads are better than 1. All of those sayings, right? Even if that person isn't perfect, getting another person's perspective, because you have that anxiety we talked about when you're in that incident, especially if something did happen and now you're really concerned. How often do you think clearly when you are in that state? Having somebody else objectively be able to understand what's happening and guide you through, even if they don't know exactly what they're doing. They can help calm you down, get you where you need to be, and if all else fails, maybe they can drive you to Best Buy with your computer. All right? A couple of pieces that I wanted to point out. Password managers. My 2 recommendations are something called 1Password, and I personally use one called Proton Pass, which now everybody knows on the internet. What those do is you set up a username and password, and potentially multi-factor, highly recommend using multi-factor, for access to the software. And now this is a database. This is your little black book of passwords. When you save a password, it's there. That is a secured database. Typically, only you that have logged in can understand that because they've encrypted it. So even if it is stolen, without that credential of you logging in, it's useless. So password managers are probably my number one takeaway from this, outside of stay calm and just try to go through and do the right thing. Reporting fraud, FTC. If you look at some of these links, the reportfraud.ftc.gov, or if you just go to ftc.gov and look it up, they'll be there. Consumer.ftc.gov, great resources. They will go through and tell you what the most common things are for scams right now, and have videos to understand it, have links to understand it. If we wanted to do another one of these scenarios, I could actually order documents from the FTC and handouts. They are there for your protection. Nothing's gonna be perfect, we're just trying to do better. All right? Last point, scammers don't hack computers. They're hacking people. In IT, our biggest attack point is social engineering. That's for big corporations, because they know no matter how good your security network is, if you have somebody send an unauthorized email that looks legit, is from the right company, half the hard work is done. They've already had this trust set up because they're using somebody else's identity. The idea that everything we do online is going to be permanent also is a big change from, you know, our historical thoughts. I'm really glad I grew up in a time where everything I did as a teenager was not online.
Agreed.
Right?
All of us.
And we have that mentality of, oh, that was done months ago. All right? On the internet, it is just like it happened. So the only way we can really stay ahead of these things are changing our passwords, making smart decisions, and understanding that it's potentially not if it's going to happen, but when. It's a scary thought. It's a place I don't like to put most people, but if you get comfortable with that idea of something could happen, how do I keep myself safe and those that I love? I have time for questions, or we can go
I
back to
have a
anything.
story I wanted to share with everyone.
Grab let's story time.
Yes, it's not a good
Can
story,
you
but
grab-
it's.
Can you grab the puppets?
Yeah. So this happened to my parents. They were at the casino, and my father gets a call, so it's loud. He can't really hear. Someone's like, "Grampy, I need help." So he thought it was my daughter asking for help.
Yeah.
So he's in a panic. He's like, "We gotta go." She's like, "They're arresting her. She's at the jail. We gotta give her money." My mother's like, "Well, wait a minute, like, what's going on and what's happening?" And he was all ready to go, and then she goes, "Wait a minute, how did Abby sound?" My daughter's very dramatic. So he's like, "She was pretty calm and this and that." So my mother was able to kind of talk him through it and go, "Wait a minute, let me get a hold of Abby." Abby's at home on the couch, and he's ready to go wire money to some lawyer to help her because she was in a car accident supposedly, and her mouth, because he's like, "You sound funny." "Oh, my mouth, I hit my mouth," you know. So just be very aware that they will do this. They'll call randomly and just try to get you to send them money. So that's what happened with them. So good thing my mother had a little more wherewithal to like check with my daughter. So
She asked some questions, follow-up questions.
yes, yeah,
What did she sound like?
right.
Was she calm? Was she doing anything else? Would she normally call and ask that? Right? Two things. You know, your mother did the right thing of calming down and asking those questions.
Right.
How would you change that scenario after what we just went through in terms of what I've given the
Well, I
presentation
would
on?
say there should be a code word, like you said, a code
Yeah.
word. And I actually am gonna do that and like talk to my kids, yeah.
It's
Well,
one of
could
those
it
guys-
been, it's really noisy here, I'm gonna hang up and I'll call you back, and
Oh.
then call Abby's
Absolutely
number.
fine.
Right.
I'm not rude, but there have been plenty of times when a bank has called me and said, "Hey, we noticed that this payment is late, and would you like to pay over the phone?" They typically are legitimate, but like, I'll call you back or I'll go pay online and hang up. I'm not even continuing that conversation. All right? before you get into a heated battle or trying to grill somebody, just hang up. If I'm calling you and you hang up on me, and then you call me back, okay, I'm not gonna be offended by that. I'm saying sometimes cell phones go down, or I just wanted to be safe and make sure it was you. Take that time.
I have the mic, so.
It's on.
So if you have a long password that you've used all the encryption techniques and all those, the different letters and so forth.
Yeah.
When you enter that in, when you're trying to get into your bank account, why can't these people just grab it from there now that you've sent it?
All right. So that gets.
I panic every time.
Good question. If you've ever gone to a website, you might type in the address. We call that the URL bar. That has another piece of information. Once you hit enter and it loads that site, look to the very left of where you've entered that address, and you should see a little lock icon on the browser, not on the web page, on the browser. What that is saying is it's using a secure connection. When you've entered that website, your computer and that server have negotiated a secure tunnel. So they're actually sending everything encrypted. It's not saying that it can't 100% be broken, it's just a lot harder to do.
And if the lock's not there?
If the lock's not there, or you get an alert that says this site is not able to use secure connection, wait, maybe they're having a system outage. Don't say I authorize and move forward. If there is any concern, close out the browser, maybe open up a different browser and try to log in, or go to that website and see if it's secured.
First, a couple of things. Will we have access to this PowerPoint, or
Yep.
can we put it in PJ's place as a link? Because I won't remember that FTC address. I don't remember things like that. Second, I have a personal email account through Microsoft, and I got one of those emails from Microsoft saying change your password. I did it, and then I felt kind of weird about it, and then I went back to try to change the password through Microsoft, and I can't find where you changed the password now. Like, I looked everywhere.
All right, so Microsoft is a pretty big piece, so I'm not sure which aspect. Is it your Microsoft account for your
It's an
computer?
email account. I just got a personal email account through Microsoft.
Okay, so like live?
Yeah,
Microsoft
for live, yes,
Okay.
correct.
So that would be going to the website. So again, close out the browser, open a fresh page, go to live.com or Microsoft Live, and then the login up top. Almost every place that you go to put a login, underneath, there is usually, I forgot my password, I forgot my username. Use those. But again, if you start seeing emails where you've reset your password, is this you? Not just you have access to that button. You're looking for a correlation. Did I initiate something?
Yeah.
If I initiated something and I got the response back, I'm more likely to trust it.
So
that explains something, Amy. I've gotten it from more than just Amy's email address on the church computer. It comes from Amy Leary and it says, "Hey, it comes from Bob Kirsting too.
Yes,
hey,
I've got
thought you'd
Bob.
like
I
to
got
get the
some from you,
photos.
too,
I've got
right.
these photos. I thought
Yeah.
maybe some
Yeah.
reunion or something. So it's and I see those and I automatically know. Well, okay, their email's been hacked and don't open it. But this was all initiated because I was at the church computer one Wednesday morning when a pop-up screen came up from Microsoft itself and said the computer had been infected, and that and Microsoft therefore locked the computer. And I went immediately to the little X on the right corner to X out of it, and it wouldn't let me do anything. So I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And it had the phone number to call, and so I called the phone number, and I got this Asian woman with a very thick accent, and it took me a good I was totally panicked. I was on the verge of tears. She told me that porn had been downloaded and child porn, and I would have to contact the FTC or be in contact with them to give them all my information. And I said, how do I know you're not the hacker? Oh, no, I'm not the hacker, not the hacker. And then I went up to the URL bar, and assuming my computer's locked, and typed in most recent Microsoft pop-up scams. And sure enough, I got an answer, and what it was is exactly what I had seen on the screen. So at that point, I said to her,
Picture of a woman.
I said, we're done here, I'm hanging up. But at that point, I had already downloaded a computer sharing program and everything, and that's, I was just so panicked. And so I shut everything off and then ran home and called SAC. And it's like, what do we do? I'm like, oh my God, because she told me the phones were infected and any device that had connected to the internet through that computer was infected. So I'm thinking of all the church people that have connected to the Wi-Fi. It was horrible. And my kids have had similar things happen, and I knew immediately that it was a scam. They were trying to hack their computers. But this one just sucked me right in. So
That's a great example. So we just heard her talk about they created urgency. They tried to build trust and say, I'm going to help you. And then they went in for, and this is how we're going to help you, download something. Give us some access or information. That's a great understanding of how these happen. And I mentioned pop-ups a few times. Does everybody here, quick show of hands, what is a pop-up? Does everybody know what that is? Okay. How do you think these pop-ups show up on your computer?
It always happens through Facebook.
All right.
From clicking on things?
Potentially clicking on something, but more often, and here's what. A while back, we had these browsers that you would just go to the website and then you started seeing their content and ads. All right. Think about going to, let's use Sears, it's an old one. Sears.com, you go there and you're saying, hey, I'm really interested in these kind of tools. They want to advertise as much as possible to you. So there is this added function in browsers that allow for notifications. You think about you're on email. You have Google email up on your page and you get a new email and it pops up a separate window that says email, new. Those are notification tabs. So it doesn't have a full browser window. It's a very simplified layout, really meant for advertising. So any site you go to, at some point, there's a lot of questions like, do you want this to happen, this to happen? Do you want it to give access to a mic? At some point, they said, would you allow notifications?
Right. Yes.
And you're thinking, all right, I'm going to allow notifications if I get a new message from Facebook. Any notification. So,
You click to exit out and it comes.
but here's what's happened. You said, yes, I'll allow notifications. You don't have to have that page open anymore. That authorization left a tunnel that said, we can notify these folks. And we're not checking what that content is. It's an ad. So if we can make that ad look like a system pop-up, a Microsoft Windows security alert, Norton antivirus security alert, that's a website that has been popped up to you. And a lot of times, they put an X in their image.
Yes, it's not functional.
It's not functional.
Well, I think because it was locked, so of course I couldn't do it.
So two things. Great if it's non-functional, but understand, clicking that notification can also be like clicking a link. So there's all these little things you have to be aware of. There's always going to find a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your guidance about changing passwords, thank you. And also, what is your opinion or your guidance on cleaning out your email file?
So I think the best practice, which even I am guilty of, is have no extra emails. right? Now, there are things that you want to archive and photos and pieces like that. You gotta start looking at what's important for you and understand, all right, is there a better way to do this? If I just use my inbox for email as all of my security information, all of my correspondence with friends and family, all of my business correspondence, also anytime I get an email that has photos and everything else, it becomes your home. We're hoarders in our inbox. So now if someone was able to get into that house, into your inbox, they have all of that information.
That's what we're doing this afternoon.
That's what I'm saying. So what do you suggest that you should have separate mailboxes or?
So there are a bunch of different ways that you can do these. From a quick fix, you can have a separate secure email where that's the email that you're giving out only for, hey, I want my bank information to come here. I want authorizations from my important websites. I'm not going to use that email address for hobbies and other pieces. I'm going to really use that as if it's a lockbox. That's one way to go about that. Cleaning up your actual inbox. There are softwares that will do that. Understand, anytime there's a free software, the software isn't the product, you are. All right?
Do you have a recommendation for one
I
of those?
don't actually have a recommendation. I will find one and I'll put in the information for this. But going through, cleaning up, if you've ever used the filter option in Google, if you go up into the top where you have in Google Gmail your search for inbox, if you click on that, you can say search for all of these. If you find one that you're like, hey, this one I have a ton of, you can go into that email, and then there's an option that says filter like, and it does a very specific search for that sender or that phrase or subject line, and it'll give you all of those. And then you can click, select all. There's one additional step. So if you click select all, it shows what's on the page, and you get rid of that. But if you click select all, and then look, there should be another pop-up that comes up, and that says select all that match. So not just the 50 that are on the page typically, but potentially 1,400. Delete 1,400.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hold on.
Might be a silly question, but I'm just wondering. When you delete things, like I'll go in and delete emails, I get 20 emails. So I go in, I clean it up in the morning, and then I go to the trash and I delete them, okay? That's one part of it. The second part of it, I have documents that I don't use anymore, so I delete them, it goes to the recycle bin. So I go to the recycle bin and I delete it. Where does that go? Does it go anywhere, or does it really go away?
All right. This is a great question. On the internet, nothing ever goes away, right? So I want
I
you
watch
to...
Law and Order, I know.
One of the analogies I like to use, if you had that home voicemail on the cassette before, right? And it just reuses it and covers over it, even if you hit delete, it essentially just marks it and you write over it next time. That's exactly what your computer does.
So I get a document from somebody and I print it out and I don't want it anymore. And it's got a lot of information on it, so I delete it and it goes to the trash bin and I delete it. It's still on my computer somewhere, I wouldn't know where to find it, but.
Yeah, so two aspects of this, right? You mentioned an email. Email is not on your computer. You're on a website, that's a server. Same idea. On your computer, this is the idea of, hey, I have this file. We'll go back to the Dewey Decimal System. I have a catalog of where everything is. When I hit delete, I'm taking that card that says where it is and throwing it out. And saying that that spot, where that file was, is available to be written over. The only real way to safely say that thing is gone, there are two ways. If you're going to continue to use that, you can rewrite that section. This is a very technical thing, so not everybody's going to do it. I don't do this. You can rewrite that enough times where it hides all the information behind it. When you get rid of a computer, if you donate, if you recycle, that hard drive still has all that information. So there are it's a lot harder to find it, but people can still get it. The DoD, the government, has this software, and they make it available for folks, where you can rewrite this in such a way enough times that it becomes pretty much unusable. The third way, physical destruction. Pull! All right? There are also these services that will say, hey, for a fee, we'll take that hard drive and destroy it for you and give you a certificate. Okay?
Zach, what about browsing history? You know, deleting your browsing history, does that do anything, or?
So, browsing history, cookies, all those other pieces. Let me go into that. When you go to a website, and it's that cookies, the opt-in, opt-out piece, what that's doing is saying, I'm allowing and saying, okay, for you to store a little piece of information on my computer in my browser. All of those little pieces of information may have potentially really private information, but also history of what I've done. So yes, if I were to have somebody come into my system and look through my history, they potentially have more information than I want, even if they have that. Browsing history is really just a record of the sites I've been to. But when you go in and you say delete cookies and cache, that's what's really deleting all the information. One last aspect on that. If you've gone to a bad site and you've typed that in or hit enter, it's now in your history. So if there is any incidents, clear your history for the last day, last hour, last week. It'll stop it from being populated when you start typing stuff in.
I got a call from someone that wants to represent my
Oh, give me
business.
1 second, we'll get your mic. And then I think Pastor John has a question after.
I got a call from, so I've heard of them before, it's healme.com. They reviewed my website for my business and they want to represent me. Can you recommend a good search engine to check out a business, to see if they're reliable?
Better Business Bureau is always a good place to start.
Okay.
And then depending upon what kind of service they're offering.
International.
It's a national, but is it like a charity kind of service?
No, it's a referral business.
All right, so I would probably just do reviews, checks, and see what other folks understand. But like, if you get to a review site, it might be somebody else's information that they're trying to pass in. Thanks for sticking around for my half-hour conversation.
Yeah, no, so I have three quick thoughts, and the last one is just expressing some gratitude to Zach. One is just to say, one is just a clarity. I just want to make sure I understood correctly that the password manager,
yes,
that is a good thing. That's something that you would recommend.
Yes.
For someone like me, I can imagine that being extraordinarily helpful. Like I just, what do I lose that little black book, the whole thing. So I think password manager is likely in my future. Secondly, I wanted to share something, and I think I've shared this with you before, Zach, but with other folks in the room. Folks sometimes get something that looks like it's from password. So I just wanted to share that. And lastly, I just wanted to say, to be cognizant of your time, we have gone over time here. You have been so helpful, and thank you, Zach. Really and truly grateful to you, and maybe something like this again sometime. Who knows? Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
I know, do you do this, like?
What was that?
No, do you have a service where people can get her stuff, she needs her stuff?
No, I don't have that as a service.
Or do you recommend?
I'll find some folks, there's usually,
Or laptop repair?
in your area, there's usually a computer repair service, small shops are good for that network, but also there's some good,
Yeah, they can.
but also, this is more and more, it's a little bit about self-education as well. Little steps all the time. Thank you for everybody for coming.
Thank you, Zach.